Here we go. Let's learn how to do some statistics using Google Sheets. Microsoft Excel can do a lot more, but we're going to call it good enough. So we're just kind of doing this activity here, calling it 3.7. You've already rolled your dice a few times. So let's go ahead and try to make Google Sheets do some of the work for us. So, somewhere in your Google Drive, make a new Google Sheet. Let's call it something like 3.7, I don't know, rolling the dice with Google Sheets. So, the first thing we need to do is make a table for our data that we have already collected. So we're going to have something like, call it the roll number. Then we've got our roll value from our other table. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So one thing you can do, and this is in Excel or in Sheets, you can do 1, 2. Then you can highlight those two boxes so they make a pattern. You can drag this down till you get to 10, and so on. And then your roll values you need to type in from your rolls. Your group did. So I had an 8, and then a 6, and then a 7, then a 3, then a 9, then a 4, then a 6, then a 5, then a 7, then a 3. Now to make this look prettier, here's some things you can do. Center your titles. You could center your data if you want to. It's not standard, but for this it probably wouldn't matter. Make that a little narrower by just double clicking up here. Make sure if you miss something you just pause this video and restart it. You can put some borders on it here, make it look a little nicer. And one thing you could do is you could sort this data if you wanted to from lowest to highest. The roll number is probably not terribly relevant at this point, but it just kind of keeps track of how many total rolls we have. So if I just kind of made my table out in the middle of nowhere. If you want to make it in the upper left corner, you can. I like to have at least one row and one column, just as a nice spacer for this. Do whatever you want. So, to sort this, you could just sort it like this. See if I know my Google Docs very well. You can always go to data sort. A to Z. That screwed it up. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so next thing we can do is find the mean, the median, the mode. We should do this nice and organized like. So I'm going to type mean, and then I'm going to have it find the mean for me. Now there's no mean function, but it is just average. So if you start typing, you see these things start coming up, and average is right here. You can click on it then, fills it out, put that parenthesis, and then you can select your data. And you could finish off the parenthesis, but you don't have to. You can just hit enter. And there's my average. Let's drop my mic. Then what you could do to make it look better, you could center it. I'm going to center this whole column all at once. I'm going to put a box around this so it stands out real pretty. Okay, let's see. Mean, median would be good. So you type equals, if I didn't say that for the mean, median, and that's the only thing there. Select your data again. You could also type in C3 colon C12 if you want to do it the slow way. We might do that later though. A nice pretty box around it. Okay, now mode. Excel has this complicated way of doing it if it's multimodal, but you have to know if it's multimodal for it to work. It's kind of annoying. We're just going to say, as far as I can tell, what it does equals mode. If there's two modes, it selects the higher number. It says in my mode is 6. I got 1 6 and 2 6s. Okay, I was wrong. I've got 2 7s. 2 6s. If I change this, get rid of this, you notice how it updates. It doesn't count that as a 0 or anything. Change it back to 6, stays at 6. I don't know, whatever. we're not so concerned with mode here, just showing you how to do it. Okay, another thing that we could do is our range. And so we could say, what's our minimum value? You know what, I'm going to put it down here. Min. It's my minimum value of all my data. Can you imagine how helpful this would be if we had 1,000 pieces of data instead of just 10? So you can type equals min. Same process. Select your data. And roll was 3. You may have something different. What's my max? It is see, it gives you this explanation. Max is 9. So what's my range? We go equals whatever my max is. That way if it changes, this will update. Minus whatever my min is. Enter. My range is 6. Now watch what happens if I go in here and change this to a 99. My range is going to change to 96. And all the other things update as well. That's the value of having formula instead of calculating and typing it in. That's the whole point of using this. So next, let's make a histogram. Now in Excel, it's a complicated process, very complicated process to, and this is described in 3.7, but it's a complicated process to define your own bins. We're just going to let Google define our bins for us. What we're really looking for is, what does our data look like? Does it look fairly bell curve-ish? So I'm going to go Insert. Actually, you can highlight your data. I'm going to go Insert, Chart. It's going to pick a chart for me. I don't want a column chart, so come over here and scroll down to your specialty charts. Here's histogram. So, not so bell curve-ish. So what did we say you can do to make your data better? More normally distributed? More data. So what you need to do is start rolling at least 10 more times. Even if yours already looks pretty bell curve-ish already, I'm going to keep saying bell curve-ish, I want you to roll at least 10 more times. But this time you don't have to write it down. You don't have to do any hand calculations. You can just expand your table right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of come down here and I'm going to go all the way down. So I need 90 more at most. I'm just going to go down like this. Create some more borders. I'm going to continue this pattern here. Excel will probably tell you what your current value is, so we get to know when we're stopping. It's going to stop at 57, and I'm going to keep rolling. So go and roll a bunch more, and now watch what happens. Well, first of all, we got to update all these values. We don't want C12 anymore. We want this whole column. So instead of re-dragging it, we're down to C59 here. This cell right here is C59. So I'm just going to change all these to 59. Now I might not roll that many, but it doesn't matter if you have extra blanks. Because look, none of these numbers are changing. So change all these to whatever number you stopped at. You could even go farther than that. Okay, so now what happens if I put in a giant number? It should make my mean a lot bigger. It should make my range a lot bigger. And it does. And my histogram gets all messed up. It chooses 5 bins to throw them in. So, do a bunch more rolling. Oh, I rolled snake eyes. Oh, I rolled another snake eyes. What are the chances? And there's some boxcars. And then a 7, 7, 6, 8. Actual real rolls might help you a little bit. Another 12. 10. You'll even notice if you didn't have 2s and 12s that your numbers across here will certainly change. Let's do an 8, 9, 10, 11, 8, 9, 9, 10. Wow, I'm rolling some big numbers. 5, 5, 12, 11. Of course, this is going to keep moving on you, but and then I rolled a 5. And then I rolled 4 7s in a row. Okay, that not totally screwed me up. Just keep rolling until you get something that looks pretty bell curve-ish, like we have here. Now that we have good enough data to have our standard deviation mean something, well, let me show you something first though. This is too many decimal places, so you can come in here and say I want less or I want more. You can do that with any of those. I'm just going to call it there. For standard deviation, let's find the standard deviation population as if this is all the roles that ever existed. So equals standard deviation population. And then this, let's not worry about these. Pick this one. Select all my data here. Maybe all the way down to here if we want. Enter. There's my standard deviation. Now I'm going to hit Command X, Command V. Let's see, we still got our same exact boxes. I forgot the title list. Standard deviation population. Not sure why these aren't centered. Pretty box around it. Then I'm going to go standard deviation sample equals standard deviation, and this is just regular standard deviation, so it would be this one here. And then I'm going to select my data again. You could type it if you want. Should get rid of some decimals. They're all still there, so if you want to show more, you show more just to see what they are. I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, so there's our new standard deviations. Go ahead and fill these in on your Google Doc and then answer the next question, and then we'll move on to the next screencast.